దేశానికే ప్రమాదం. పార్టీ పరంగా కూడా మేము మాట్లాడాలి, ప్రజలందరూ కూడా ఆలోచించి యువత మీటింగ్ లో కానివ్వండి, ఉడతా పంజాబ్ టెలికాం రోజులు కూడా గంజాయి వద్దు, ఉడతా ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ క్యాంపెయిన్ కూడా తెలుగుదేశం ఒక సైకో ముఖ్యమంత్రి పరిపాలనలో ఎలా జరుగుతున్నాయి ఆ తల్లి ఉదాహరణ మాత్రం ఈ అండగా నిలబడింది. అందుకే తల్లిదండ్రులు కూడా చెప్తున్నాం, డి అడిక్షన్స్ మీరు కూడా జాగ్రత్త పడండి. తెలుగుదేశం మన పిల్లలు ఏం చేస్తున్నారో మనం వాచ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం చాలా రాష్ట్రాలు ఎక్కడ ఘటన, ఎందుకంటే అధికారులు పట్టించుకోవట్లేదు, ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారు పట్టించుకోవట్లేదు. అమర్నాథ్ గౌడ్ అని ఇన్ని టన్నుల గంజాయి రోడ్డంటే అతి కిరాతకంగా సారి కాలు చేతులు కట్టేసి గంజాయి మత్తులో వైకాపా నాయకులు పెట్రోల్ పోసి తగలబెట్టారు. అడిగే పరిస్థితి ఇదొక ఘటన. ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారి ఇల్లు పక్కనే గంజాయి మత్తులో ఒక వ్యక్తి ఒక చెల్లి మానభంగం చేసి చంపేస్తాం కూడా అందరు తెలిసిన విషయం. ఇట్లా రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా అనేక ఘటనలు జరుగుతున్నాయి. అంతెందుకు వాళ్ళ సొంత పార్టీ ఎమ్మెల్సీ అనంతబాబు గంజాయి మత్తులో వాళ్ళ దళిత డ్రైవర్ సుబ్రహ్మణ్యంని అతి కిరాతకంగా కొట్టి చంపేసి శవాన్ని డోర్ డెలివరీ చేశారు. నేను అనేక సభల్లో చెప్పాను, దీని వెనకాల కారణం గంజాయి. ఇట్లా అడుగడుగున గంజాయి విపరీతంగా పారుతుంది. అన్ని ఆధారాలతో సహా గవర్నర్ గారికి ఇచ్చాం. దీని వెనకాల వైకాపా నాయకులు ఉన్నారు, దీని వెనకాల వైకాపా ఎంపీటీసీలు ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళే తయారీ దగ్గర నుంచి చివరి సప్లై వరకు వైకాపా నాయకులు ఉన్నారని చాలా స్పష్టంగా గవర్నర్ గారు కూడా వెల్లడిస్తాం జరిగింది. ఇంకో పక్కన కూడా చూస్తే ఈ గంజాయి వల్ల కుటుంబాలే నాశనం అవుతుంది, ప్రజలు బాగా ఇబ్బంది పడుతున్నారు. స్కూల్లో తిరుపతిలో నేను పాదయాత్ర చేసినప్పుడు చాలా స్పష్టంగా అక్కడ చెప్పాను, గంజాయి దొరుకుతుంది. ఎస్పీ గారు ప్రెస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ పెట్టి గంజాయి లేదు అని చెప్పే నిమిషమే స్కూల్లో గంజాయి. అంటే తిరుపతి ఎస్పీ గారికి గంజాయి ఆయన జిల్లాలో ఉంది అని తెలియని పరిస్థితి. అంటే పోలీసు వాళ్ళు కొంతమంది కావాలని మా దగ్గర గంజాయి లేదు, మా అంత బాగుందని కప్పుచ్చుకునేదానికి ప్రయత్నిస్తున్నారు. ఎప్పుడైనా వాస్తవాలు గ్రహించాలా. ఇది కేవలం ఒక రాష్ట్రానికి సంబంధించిన విషయం కాదు, మొత్తం భారతదేశానికి సంబంధించిన విషయం. ఒక మాటలో చెప్పాలంటే నేషనల్ సెక్యూరిటీ ఒక థ్రెట్లో ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే హవాలా ద్వారా డబ్బులు పంపిస్తాం, గంజాయి తీసుకొస్తాం. దీనివల్ల ఒక రాష్ట్రానికి కాదు దేశానికే ప్రమాదం. ప్రజలందరూ కూడా ఆలోచించారు. ఉడతా పంజాబ్ సినిమా చూసారు, ఇప్పుడు ఉడతా ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కేవలం ఒక సైకో ముఖ్యమంత్రి పరిపాలనలో ఎలా జరుగుతున్నది ఇదొక ఉదాహరణ.
Dear friend, you see this man? On the right is Ukrainian President Zelensky. His leadership in defending Ukraine has earned him comparisons to Winston Churchill. But the man standing on the left is as valuable as the best general Ukraine has in uniform. He runs the AI software company that's been Ukraine's secret weapon in its war against Russia. You see, while most people are focused on AI chatbots, there's been a quiet revolution happening in how we wage war. Experts are calling it the third revolution in warfare. It's a new global arms race to see which country is going to lead the world over the next century. And that future is being decided right now in Ukraine, in real time. And it's not just being decided by Ukraine's brave soldiers, it's being decided by software, AI software. Weapons that used to be controlled by people have been outfitted with this AI software, and that's turned them into robots that use artificial intelligence to make kill decisions. AI has been Ukraine's secret weapon. They started the war using old Soviet-era weapons. Now they have one of the most technologically advanced armies on Earth. The result has been a revolution in warfare. And this revolution is going to change how all future wars are fought. Now here's what most people don't know quite yet. There's one small company at the center of this entire revolution. Its AI software is on the laptops of every Ukrainian decision maker in uniform. but few people outside of military circles seem to even know about it. Its stock is selling still for under $10 a share. In that way, it reminds me of another niche software maker, Autodesk. Autodesk shares rose 5,600% because they revolutionized how buildings were made. They did it by taking architecture from the drawing board to the computer screen. But for a long time, engineers and architects were the only people that even knew about this and understood its power at first. I believe the AI software firm I'm about to tell you about is on the verge of doing just that. In a moment, I'm going to show you exactly how this company's living software is changing warfare. I'm also going to tell you why I think most of Wall Street still hasn't caught on just yet. Most importantly, I'll explain how you can personally profit from it. In fact, if our numbers are correct and this imitates the success of Autodesk, this could be the biggest winner you've ever heard about. Once you know how this software works, you are going to understand why Ukraine, the US Army, our special forces, even our allies are rushing to get in on it. But first, it's important for you to know who I am and why I'm so confident about this unique opportunity. My name is Dylan Jovanet. I started my career on Wall Street in 1991, over 30 years ago. But I didn't start at an establishment firm like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan. I grew up poor. I went to City College. There was no big firm from Wall Street that was going to hire a guy like me. I was too much of an outsider. Thankfully, I got my big break from another Wall Street outsider, Peter Jaquith. He became famous. He's one of the bankers that became famous for saving New York City from bankruptcy in the 1970s. He started a boutique firm after leaving Lazard Frères & Company. It was an opportunity I wouldn't take for granted. They may not have had all the connections those other rich people did, but nobody was going to work harder than I did. Nobody. I managed accounts, but I fell in love with researching stocks. Studying a stock to me was like reading a short history book about the town the company was in, the people that worked there, the products they made. I mean, I loved it. I couldn't believe people got paid to do this. Within a few years, I earned a reputation for picking stocks right before they were taken over. Stocks like Paramount, which was bought out by Viacom 3 months after I recommended it for a 100% gain, or the 70% gains we made when U.S. Reassurance was acquired about 6 months after I recommended it, or the 78% gains we booked when Chase Manhattan Bank was taken over by Chemical Bank, or the 83% profit we made when Michigan National Bank was acquired for $110 a share. Now remember, this is 1991, 1992, and 1993. This is way before the internet bull market of the late 90s really hit. But there I am, this 23-year-old kid, basically, picking takeover after takeover. By 1996, my clients bankrolled me to start my own brokerage firm. And that's how, at just 24 years old, I became one of the youngest people in American history to launch a registered broker-dealer and market maker. Our office was at 100 Wall Street, right on Wall and Water. Now, because of what I accomplished at such a young age, Wall Street took notice. But it wasn't until I predicted the 2008-2009 financial crisis and crash a year later that the general public took notice. That's when I was invited onto television to share my opinion. And my message was simple.
What I think they're starting to do is move away from inflationary concerns to concerns about the growth of the economy. So I think you're starting to see the messages change and the Fed to take a stronger easing posture to lower rates.
The stock market at 6,500 was like walking into your car dealership and everything is marked on sale 90% off. Or walking into your grocery store. Imagine walking into your grocery store and everything's marked 90% off. Like the 629% returns we booked after buying American Express at $14 a share. Or the 700% profits we booked when we bought Starbucks at $8 a share. Or the 459% profits we found recommending AutoNation between $10 and $11 a share. Or the 235% gains that came from those who bought FactSet Research with us at $63 a share. Or John Harlan which was taken over 6 months after I recommended it, giving investors a 35% gain. Or shares of K-Swiss, which gave my clients a 65% gain. And you remember Radio Shack? Investors had the opportunity to make 80% profits after the stock jumped from 16 to 29 after we recommended it. Or even the 40% gains we earned when Hilton Hotels was taken over. Now, I don't say all this to brag. Bragging's not what I do. It's not my style. I say it to show you that I've been making money for myself and my clients for close to 30 years. I know what I'm doing. And yet, as great as all the gains I just discussed with you were, I believe the opportunity with this AI software firm is fundamentally different. The Washington Post said it best. After seeing their AI software in action in Ukraine, they called it a revolution in warfare. And revolutions in warfare are rare. I mean, there have been 3. The invention of iron, the invention of gunpowder, and the invention of the atom bomb or nuclear weapons. Only 3 before this. That's why you have an opportunity to earn a 5,600% return on this investment. Which brings us to today. How does the ex-CEO of a Wall Street firm get involved in the most advanced weapon of war since the atom bomb? Because history is my first love. I've dedicated my life to it. I've spent decades studying the collapse of the Roman Empire alone. I wanted to know how it happened. Did the people know it was coming? What were the signs? Could they have done anything different to stop it? And most importantly, could the same thing happen to the United States? Right around that time, I read an ancient book called The Peloponnesian War. It was written by an Athenian general named Thucydides in 431 BC. Though the book was 2,500 years old, it had so many answers that I was looking for. But one in particular that really struck me. He has a theory called the Thucydides trap. That's what it's called now. His theory is that a rising power will always challenge the established one. He believed it was the nature of things, like when a younger lion takes on the dominant male to try to take over the pride. Now, I've spent the past 25 years really studying that theory. No matter how many times I've tested it, no matter where I looked around the world through thousands of years of history, it's always proven to be right. The Mongols and Genghis Khan were a rising power when they conquered the established power of China in 1205. England was a rising power when they challenged Spain in 1585. France was a rising power when they challenged and lost to England in 1800 with Napoleon. And Germany was a rising power when they challenged and lost to Great Britain in 1914, and then, of course, with Hitler in 1939. No matter how far back I looked or where on earth I looked, that theory has proven right time and time again. After 2,500 years, it's not just a theory, it is a fact. To that end, I believe it's inevitable that a rising China, aided by Russia, is going to challenge the United States. It's already started. Period. Because of that, because of my desire to really protect the United States, I have made it my business to study warfare. I made it my business to study how established powers beat back those challenges. And for the past 10 years, I've made it my business to study which weapons and technologies will give us the edge in this coming conflict. Like the AI software company I'm bringing to you right now. It is a true difference maker. And I've been sharing this research that I've been doing by my lonesome with folks because it seems like no one else is really talking about this. And being ahead of the crowd is really what it's all about. It's why our customers send us testimonials that have said things like, we're the most accurate advisor they've ever used, or we're far above other services at integrity, or that we've turned them into believers from non-believers in what we're doing in this mission of ours. In a moment, I'm going to show you how you could join them. But first, let me explain why this opportunity is so unique and why Wall Street's smartest investors have just started to bet big on this. It's because this opportunity reminds all of us of one of the biggest successes in software history. Again, it's Autodesk. If you were to invest in Autodesk $1,000 in '94, that would be worth $56,000 today. It's over a 5,600% return on your investment. But I think this opportunity could do more for you without having to invest in options or take crazy unnecessary risks. And nobody thinks it's going to take 30 years to happen in this case. Because of the urgency of a rising China and a resurgent Russia, the Pentagon has made AI a top priority. And they're testing it in the fields of Ukraine as you are watching this video. I mean, that's unfortunately the biggest laboratory on Earth. As Business Insider recently reported, AI has become this generation's Manhattan Project. And because of that, we think one or two things going to happen. It's either going to soar 5,600% like Autodesk, or it just gets taken over by a larger company. Now, I know that's a big claim, and it should give you pause. But if you were told just 15 years ago that you'd be carrying a device in your pocket, your phone, that would have all the world's information in it, you'd think I was crazy and that was science fiction. But it happened, and this is happening too, right now, in real time. That's why Wall Street giants Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and BlackRock just reported that they owned over $1 billion in stock. And billionaire hedge fund manager Jim Simmons just bought 43 million shares of this company in the past few months. They all agree with CNBC, who said, the revolution has just begun. Now, before I tell you more about the specific company and what they do that makes them so special, and before I tell you how to position yourself in it before mainstream America catches on, I need to let you in on a big secret. It's the secret I've picked up in 30 years of doing this business, a secret responsible for some of the biggest gains in history. Remember earlier when I told you about my love for history? Well, it turns out history doesn't just repeat itself in matters of war and peace. It also repeats itself with technology. Every new technology follows what's called a technology adoption curve. And that curve has 3 phases. The first phase is innovation. This is when a brand new technology first comes to market. It's kind of the make or break it phase. Remember VHS first Betamax? Well, Betamax never made it out of this phase because they never gained mass appeal. They never gained mass adoption. They lost. VHS was the winner. Phase 2 is the acceptance phase or the adoption phase. This is where investors like us make a killing. Like, remember when VHS went mainstream? I mean, everyone had a VCR in their home. I mean, I remember, again, I was a poor kid in the neighborhood. We were all poor. I grew up in a poor neighborhood. But I remember the very first time I went to someone's house and they had a VCR and we watched Superman with Christopher Reeve on VCR. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was astounded that we could watch a movie like that from the home. It was just mind-boggling. But pretty soon after that, there were Blockbuster video stores in every neighborhood. Now, as it relates to this, the key is to find a company with a breakthrough technology right on the verge of entering this phase. That's how generational wealth is made. And that's what makes this AI software firm that I'm bringing you today so compelling. It is solidly in the acceptance phase right now. The U.S. Army signed up to buy their AI software on October 6, 2022. Homeland Security signed up to buy their AI software on September 26, 2022. U.S. Space Command signed up to buy their AI software on June 2nd, 2022. Like the iPhone, an entire generation of soldiers and commanders are looking at this company's screens every day. It's what they're being trained on. It's what they'll be used to. That puts it squarely in the adoption phase. And by the way, when you get used to something like that, looking at the same screen every